We both kind of looked at each other and we're like, we ain't doing nothing, let's go. And so we made everything work. We got our wonderful friends to come and dog sit for us and watch the house. And we ran, and it was, I would have to say it's one of the best decisions we've ever made, right up there with deciding to go follow through with wanting to travel and, doing the podcast.
Hi, we're James and Kara, and this is Kerouacs Cruising.
We are two ordinary people exploring what it means to build a life that feels true, day by day, from one campfire to the next.
This is our adventure, and we're glad you're part of it.
Good morning, friends.
Hi, everybody.
Well, it's been pretty exciting. So I guess to catch you up on where we left you at, we were talking about how we had some exciting stuff coming up, and we were excited to share it with you. And I had my car accident. So I'm doing pretty good as far as that's concerned. I'm starting to be able to walk without assistance and mild pain and whatnot. So that's, if you're worrying about me, I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm doing great.
She bounces off vehicles really good.
Tell that to the dead in the truck. So yeah, that's really great. And then we just came back from, before we go forward, for those of you watching us on YouTube, we don't make a habit of driving around with flowers in the car. We're going to see a friend and we're bringing her flowers, and we did laundry and shopping and all of that. So that's what's going on and what you're seeing.
We drive around with flowers to have better oxygen in them.
It's not a terrible idea. So we just came back from Denver, actually. It was, a fairly quick trip. We flew in, went to an event, and then flew right out as soon as the event was over.
We did not check out Denver at all.
We did not see Denver. We saw Denver in the distance, the city of Denver, and the high-rises. I know a few of our listeners are Denver fans as far as football goes, so we did not see Mile High Stadium or anything like that. We pretty much stayed in our hotel, and we went to a Dr. Joe Dispenza retreat.
At the Gaylord Resort.
Yeah, in...
Pretty impressive resort.
Yeah, it was beautiful. It was a beautiful hotel. It was an amazing opportunity to go to the retreat. It was one of those things that seemed very serendipitous. James and I had talked a few months ago about if we ever had the opportunity to go to a retreat. I'd really like to. And, right away it was kind of like shoved away because, it's hard to have somebody watch the dogs, and where are we going to put the camper meantime while we're at a 7-day full-time retreat.
And it's a retreat, and it is a lot of work because you're going from 6 in the morning until 8 at night. Because we thought about bringing the camper and then leaving the dogs in the camper while we were at this event during the day. That would not have worked. I am glad we decided not to do that.
It might have been able to work only if we would have left during our lunch breaks. But I think that would have added up a lot of stress. Like, I was thinking about the schematics of it, but it still would have left the dogs in the camper for a lot of hours. And we were coming back every night just totally trashed, like exhausted, like...
Brain had worked all day.
So it was, if you're not familiar with Dr. Joe Dispenza, he's a pioneer in the world of kind of merging science and mysticism. And he does amazing lectures to help you mentally connect to the dots. And then he teaches you different meditation techniques and leads you into these different meditation techniques so that not only are you able to upregulate your genes, rewire your neural pathways, all those sort of things science-wise, but then also have the opportunity to experience the mystic, to experience other realms or dimensions, to experience things that are outside of this 3D reality that we don't notice with our normal senses: taste, touch, hearing, all of that. It was a lot because it was either lecture or meditation all day for all those hours, and so it was a lot to absorb and a lot that we're trying to do, a lot you're trying to focus. People think meditation retreat, they're like, oh, it's so relaxing. But one of the things you find, a lot of people don't meditate because they have a hard time sitting with themselves for a long time. And James and I, we've talked about in the past that we've done the mindfulness based stress reduction class, and that was great, but it was only, very, it was 2 hours most
They
of the
only
day.
scratched the surface of the information that you need to change and rewire your systems.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But as far as sitting there with yourself, like, it's easy to do that once a week for 8 weeks. And, it really pushed with Joe Dispenza to really sit with yourself when you're feeling antsy. And I mean, the one day we did a 5-hour meditation, straight up 5 hours of meditating, and it didn't feel that long. It was actually, I was really impressed with how smoothly that went. I was a little anxious going into it, but
That morning we started at 4 a.m, and the meditation was 4 a.m. until 9 a.m.
Yeah.
And I was pretty impressed that 5 hours it went by, and you didn't move from your chair or the floor. I was really surprised. I didn't have to use a bathroom break or anything, and that was impressive. So he talked a lot about it and was saying if you're really in meditation, you're not going to have use the restroom, or you're not going to have any pain or all that. And I experienced that for sure.
your body essentially goes to sleep while your mind is awake. And so just like when you go to bed at night, your body down regulates all those things.
How he was bringing it to our attention is he said it was like hibernating.
Oh, yeah.
So that's the example he used. Your body goes into like a hibernation state, which you're not, you don't have to do any of those things.
Yeah.
So it was impressive. For 5 hours, it was unbelievable.
It really was. It was, serendipitous that we were able to do it. So, as I said, we had a hard time, when we talked about it in the past because of dog sittings in the camper and all that. Well, with the car accident, we went home, and, we were a little bummed that we're not traveling and had time to kill, frankly. We're not really doing much. I mean, James has been doing tons of stuff around the property, and I've been doing tons of back office stuff, but we're just kind of sitting on our hands, and an advertisement essentially
Trying to learn how to use AI.
yeah, that too. Yeah, we are doing that. We've been following Joe Dispenza since our last car accident. It's in his teachings.
Almost 3 years we've been following him.
And his teachings are part of what motivated us to start living the life that we want to live instead of living the life we think we have to live, and started really making big changes. But we weren't putting his methods into place. We just took his science and ran with it. It was what we needed. It was all we needed to push us. And so that's, of course, was really cool, but I'm really glad to take it to the next level. So anytime a video would come up on YouTube, a Joe Dispenza video, we always sit down and watch it together. And this one in particular that we watched was about the retreat coming up in a few weeks at the time. And so we both kind of looked at each other and we're like, we ain't doing nothing, let's go. And so we made everything work. We got our wonderful friends to come and dog sit for us and watch the house. And we ran, and it was, I would have to say it's one of the best decisions we've ever made, right up there with deciding to go follow through with wanting to travel and doing the podcast.
And if you don't know Joe Dispenza, look him up. But the biggest message he's bringing is your thoughts create your reality.
Yeah.
So if you have a negative thought cycle, then you're just going to keep recurring into the same negative behaviors.
Yeah.
And which we all know with that behavior, you just end up in the same place over and over and over again. And that's what it's about in a nutshell. And,
if you're going to give it a short summary. Yeah.
And if, one of the things we're going to do, and we've been doing for several years now, is we're bringing you real time. Our thoughts are creating our reality, and we're changing our thoughts to create an extraordinary life.
Yeah, and exactly. So essentially, and it wasn't the direct thought when we first created Kerouacs Cruising that this was going to essentially be a living diary of us doing and achieving our dreams. Our hope was that, of course, up front, it was that it would be a form of income eventually, but a way to, because we do things in a unique way, and we wanted it to look tangible, or, so many people who do the travel blogs and the travel vlogs and the travel podcasts, it's very curated, and they got the perfect makeup and the perfect hair and the perfect looking camper. Everything looks so manicured, and James and I are definitely not that. We are real rough and tumble. And so we wanted to inspire people that you can live the life of your dreams, and it can look real, and it can look messy. That's okay. That's part of life. But in that, it has been us recording achieving our dreams. Yeah, achieving our dreams that we consider and we think of. We're not doing it by the standard methods of operating, and we're changing as we are recording. So when you listen to our original episodes to us now, we've changed a lot in the last 2.5, 3 years since we've started recording. We're about to launch season 3. I guess about to launch season 3 when we're recording this, but you guys are going to be watching this in season 3. And it's really exciting. It's really exciting to see how far we've come. It's really exciting to know how much further we're going to go. I feel even more empowered than I've ever felt before about what we can accomplish in our lives, and what we can do together. I feel like we are more on the same page than we've ever been as far as a couple, a relationship, a partnership, a team. It's been really, really cool, and I think that going to this retreat only helped nail that in for us. One of the things that we did that I really appreciate that we did was we can as a couple, we could spend all of our time together there if we wanted to, but we intentionally assigned ourselves to separate groups within the retreat, so that if we wanted to see each other on breaks, we could, but we could have our own separate experiences and meet other people. And I think part of what was amazing, again, following Dr. Joe for so many years, it was awesome to see his passion and witness him in action, in person, and to learn everything and go through his methods with him. But above and beyond that, meeting all of the other people there was so incredible. It just felt like we were home. Just so many people. Everybody thought the same that way that we did. They are all optimistic about their life. They're all there to change something. Nobody goes to Dr. Joe because they've got all their shit figured out, right? And nobody's going to something like that because their life is perfect. And most people's lives aren't perfect. So it's just so beautiful to be with a bunch of people who are looking specifically for self-improvement, to grow, to be better than they were yesterday, and to heal from their past, and to heal from whatever their health concerns are, or whatever else they've got going on. Is really inspiring, truly inspiring.
If you go to one of those retreats, what you will come back with is self-discovery for yourself, but you're also going to be around a group of people that want to help people, and we experience coherent healing, and the collective in this room brought their hearts together and really healed people in an amazing way.
It was really, really incredible. It's really touching, and it sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie or something that's being made up, or super woo-woo, but it's science. They've got devices measuring the energy in the room. You can feel it. It's palpable when you walk into the room. It was a really beautiful experience, and I was given the honor. I was blessed to be a healee for one night. They did a special. They usually do, if you're choosing as a healee for a coherence healing, you get healed for 3 days in a row. There were so many people that had requested a healing. They decided to make an exception, and they had their full normal group of people that are getting healed for the 3 days, but then everybody else they rotated in for one night. And I was really fortunate to get that one night. And being a healer and experiencing what you can feel is one thing, but being on the receiving end of all of that energy, it was literally overwhelming. And the amount of gratitude and the amount of just all of it. I mean, the amount of love, it was so, my body was literally trembling. It was truly insane. An experience I'll never forget. It's etched in my system for sure. It was incredible. But again, a meditation retreat sounds like it's so easy and it's so relaxing, and to a point that it is. once you stop fighting yourself. But a lot of people don't meditate because they have a hard time sitting with themselves. They have a hard time sitting and doing nothing for a long time. And it's not that you're not doing nothing. Once you get into the science, you know what you're doing. It's a lot deeper than doing nothing. But it's hard to sit with yourself. It's hard to not get up and move. It's hard to sit there and hear your thoughts and notice what goes through your head in a situation where you can't just pick up your phone to distract yourself or turn on the television. For me, I really struggled the first 2 days. I really struggled. And I'm a meditator. Like I said, we've done the mindfulness-based stress reduction class, and James and I meditate for a minimum of 20 minutes a day previous to this retreat. So I have sat with myself, but I think what I was doing with my 20-minute meditations was what I like to refer to as a defrag. The old computers, in the 90s, you used to have to put them through a defrag mode so that they could reorganize all their files to run efficiently. And that's what I feel like I was doing before. Just sit there for 20 minutes, let my brain do all of its chaotic thinking undistracted for 20 minutes so that I could be more alert and acute throughout my day. And this is way deeper than that. You're getting into a space where you are literally, and I mean, I'm going to say it even though it feels weird to say, but you're connecting with the divine. You're connecting with the quantum field. You're connecting with oneness, and it's really profound. And from there, not only can you rewire your subconscious mind, but you are putting your body in a state where it is coming out of stress mode, and it can start doing the healing and rebuilding that it needs to do. And it's really profound once you have all of that science wrapped around it, to know that that's what you're doing for yourself. And it's powerful. It's empowering for sure.
And if you want to learn about it, they just came out with a movie called Source, and you can watch it before you make a decision to go to one of these retreats. And it gives you the hard science behind it. And that's what I think is fascinating.
Yeah.
They're not just, 20 years ago when Dr. Joe was doing this, there was no hard science, so people were pushing back and saying that, it was just miracles. There was no science behind it. And now for the last 5 or 6 years, they have the science backing what they're talking about. And you can watch that movie and the science is there.
Yeah. Source is a really great spot to start. And then if you want to go deeper, but a retreat's hard to do. It's hard to escape from your life for 7 days, and it's not inexpensive, that's for sure.
And even his book is well worth it.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say, Becoming Supernatural. His book goes through all of the science. If you're familiar with Gaia, the streaming network, he has a series on there called Rewired, so you can get all the science. And then on his website, you can buy some of the meditations, or you can buy almost all the meditations that he offers, I'm pretty sure. And they're inexpensive. They're like $25, $35, and then you have it, you own it, you download it, and you just follow his methods of meditating, and it gets you into a deeper place than you get to on your own, mostly because it keeps reminding you to get into that deeper place before your brain goes off. I think the two meditations that we keep hearing over and over and over again are the blessing of the energy centers, and then he's got a special breath that you learn how to do when you read his book if you don't go to a retreat, that helps move the energy out of your body, releases it from your body and into your brain, and so it helps release some of the stuck energy and tension that's in your body, and it gives you a great high, frankly. But those two meditations, people have literally healed things like pancreatic cancer and multiple diseases, and especially the blessing of the energy.
Autoimmune disease can be healed. Go through Joe Dispenza, because in listening to the science, because your body is out of balance.
Yeah.
And if you can
You've been in stress for so long, your body's not working properly anymore.
And if you can get your body back into coherence with a coherent brain and a coherent heart, and you move the energy out of your energy centers to bring in new energy, healing energy, you will heal autoimmune diseases. I really think they have a lot going on, and they're learning a lot. And people are going to be amazed in the next few years that you're not going to have to go to a doctor for an autoimmune disease. They're figuring it out in real time, and it's amazing.
What it really comes down to is that anything chronic has an emotional root to it. You're somehow, in some way, emotionally still living in your past, and meditation helps you get into the present moment and out of your past. So your body, again, you're getting out of that stress response that you keep recycling from reliving those old emotions and finding ways to justify why you're living in those old emotions. And it allows your body to get into a healing mode that you're not getting into otherwise. And the more you do it, if you've had, like, for me, for example, I've had 39 years of chronic stress and childhood trauma and all of that. So I'm not going to expect that my health issues and my chronic illnesses are going to be resolved in a couple of weeks, because I've got 39 years of patterns to undo. But it is going, if I stick to it and do the work, it is going to bring about a positive outcome. And at the end of the day, nobody ever dies from meditating. Nothing bad happens from meditating. Worst case scenario, you're less stressed, and they have the science that shows you've upregulated your genes for repair and regrowth and immunity and things of that nature. So,
yeah, if nothing else, you're going to bring down your stress.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah, and
we've been doing that.
Yes.
For a few years, because we also read Stress Less, Accomplish More, and this is far beyond that.
Yes, that was training wheels.
Yeah, that was...
Yeah, that was training wheels. Baby big wheel, what do you call those, big wheel bikes?
Big wheels.
Yeah, the big wheel bikes, and then the mindfulness class was training wheels, and now we're on a full-blown dirt bike, and it's I definitely, we heard so many. You should tell Patty's story, baby, because I just don't think anything beats that.
So you have a 90-minute lunch break every day, and I was just trying to meet different people, so I sat at an empty table. I'd get my food, and I had a lady come up and ask if she could sit there, and I said yes. And then her husband came, and then her brother Mike came, and there was blah, 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 a bunch of other people came, and we're sitting there, and we're just talking about our experience, and we're going around who's been to the retreat before this one. And, almost all of us first-timers.
Yeah.
And Patty spoke up and said, I learned about Joe Dispenza 25 years ago. And I was like, wow, I didn't even know he was around 25 years ago. So we're talking, and she said she got away from the work, and lo and behold...
Well, you should tell the story from the beginning with the house and everything.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
so...
I want the whole story.
She's talking about Joe Dispenza 25 years ago, and she went to his retreat, and he was, at this time, was just one of the doctors at the retreat. And they go to retreat, and they blindfold you, and to make sure you're blindfolded, they actually duct tape around your blindfold to make sure you can't see out. And her and her husband get duct taped, and before you get duct taped, you draw a picture of something that you really, really, really want. And Patty drew a picture of her dream house, and Ken drew a picture of work, I think, some that...
His business.
Yeah, his business or something like that. And then you stick it up on the fence, and you're in like a horse corral. And so you can't get out, and people are making sure you're not going to get hurt because you're blindfolded. And then you do the meditation, and the meditation is opening up your heart and visualizing what you drew on that picture so much that you draw it to yourself. You're not going to seek it out. You're drawing it to yourself. And when you're doing that, what's supposed to happen is you're supposed to be able to go to the fence and find your picture. And there was like 1,500 people that were in this horse corral that were all looking for their picture. And Patty found her picture, and when she took off her blindfold, it was her house. So fast forward now, if you know this word, you know that the unknown is you don't know how
Yeah.
this is going to happen. You don't know how you're going to get the house. You don't know any of that. All that is a mystery.
You don't worry about it.
You don't worry about it. All you know is you picture in your
Focus on the
mind
dream.
and you pull it to yourself so you can have that dream created in your mind. And if you can create it in your mind, your body and the rest of you just go about as it happened already. So lo and behold, 2-3 years later, they find their dream home, don't know how they're going to buy it or anything, and they actually got approved for their financing and got this house. And she said it's right down to the windows, to the a viewing deck up on the second story out the master
Like
bedroom.
to the T, everything she
The
wanted.
pillars, everything. It was exactly her house. So that's impressive. And that was 25 years ago.
Her husband had brought his business.
Wow, that
Sometime later.
Yeah. So then the husband, you know, trying to bring something to him, he found his later on. It's another retreat, because they were going to these retreats a lot. And then life happened. They had a couple kids, 2 daughters, I think. They had 2 daughters, and life happened. And now they're not meditating anymore. Life's just going on, and they kind of get away from Joe Dispenza a little bit, because we all know that when you have kids
distracted.
and life just takes over.
They felt like they were so rich. They had everything
Yeah.
they needed, right? They had plenty of money to put their kids through college. They were living a comfortable life. So they got away from the work because they felt like they've already manifested all of their dreams. They've already brought everything about.
So Patty, I think 3 or 4 years ago, or 3 years ago, she got breast cancer. And one of her daughters was in the medical field and said, the best thing you can do is cut it out. So she got, I don't know what it's called, a double mastectomy. So she got everything removed, and supposedly the cancer was removed. And she was doing pretty good, and still didn't really go back to Joe Dispenza work, knew about it, whatever. So 2 years after her total, what you call it? Mastectomy, she starts having severe pain in her hips and her leg, and she thought it was a sciatic nerve. She thought she was just having sciatic nerve problems. So she ignored it, but the pain got so bad she couldn't walk. She was not able to walk. So she goes to the doctors, because now she's in a walker and a cane, and they do a PET scan, and they find a softball-sized tumor in her hip, which was causing her the most pain, but then found 20 other tumors in her bones. So now she has stage 4 metastasized breast cancer,
Yeah.
but in the bones now.
Yeah.
So when they cut it out, they didn't get it all out fast enough, and it metabolized into the bones. Her first thing that she does is tells her husband, now she gets a, stage 4, you're terminal.
Yeah. They're just like, we're going to try to make you comfortable.
You're going to make her comfortable. And she says to her husband and her daughters, I have to go see Joe Dispenza. And this is in June. She goes to his retreat that's coming up, I think it was in July, and it was in DC. So she goes to the retreat, and she starts working hard. And she does the 7 days, and then she gets home, and she's doing an hour of meditation in the morning.
An hour at night, right?
And an hour at night doing the blessings of the energy centers. And she's going all in. She's just meditating. 10 weeks from her scan, she goes back in for another PET scan.
Or 10 weeks from her retreat.
Her retreat, something.
Yeah.
Whenever she goes back to the doctors, they go, and she, like 16 of these tumors disappear, just gone.
Yep.
Not in the scan anymore, but she still has
Dissolved
like the
them.
big one. Yep, dissolved. She still has the big one in her hip, but that got considerably smaller. So she continues to do the work all the way up to the retreat now that we went to, which is April.
Yep.
So she does before she goes to the retreat, she has a PET scan, and all of her tumors are gone except for one couple of shaded areas that were in her hip, right, when they showed the scan, I think there was still some residual. And she's expecting, now, grant you, in the DC one, after the third day, she took her walker and never went back to the walker. Started walking, and she was walking fine. When I seen her, she walked through the whole time, and she suspects that when she gets home, she's going to have another PET scan, and she will be completely no tumors in her body.
We witness, I mean, people...
And she got to get on stage at the end of the retreat, and I seen her every day, and she was a breath of fresh air, and really, really, if you want to... I met her, I think, the second day in or third day in, and I was amazed, but there was another guy at the retreat that got healed right at the retreat that Kara sat next to.
Yeah, so I saw two people. Look, one person came in in a wheelchair, her daughter helping her in and out of her chair for the meditations. By the second day, I think it was, maybe it was the third day, she was to a walker. And then by the end, when we were doing walking meditations, so we're like walking around this big grass field. I don't know, you walked it a few times, but I would guess close to a mile loop. She was walking the meditations without any assistance at all, her daughter just sticking close to her. I witnessed a guy who was in a wheelchair again. I assume he had assistance to get onto the floor for his coherence healing, his first coherence healing, and he stood up from the floor on his own.
And screamed!
Yeah, screamed out, cheering. I saw a lady with really bad Parkinson's, shaking, trembling really bad, couldn't really support herself standing. By the end of it, her tremors were barely noticeable. I only knew that they were there because I knew that they were there, so I was looking to see how she was doing. Just incredible. Some of the people that I talked to were, the one gal, she came in, I think it was a Tramadol. She had really bad back problems that have just continued to get worse over the years. She came from the UK to go to this event. And she came in walking just in a significant amount of pain. Her husband pushed her around in a wheelchair just to alleviate the pain. But when I talked to her on the last day, she hadn't taken any pain medicine that day. So it's just really cool to really be in that sphere of optimism and possibility and wonderment and everybody cheering each other on, and it just is so inspiring. It was just so cool. And in some of the cases, you're seeing some of these people, like when I have a hard time receiving in general, but when I got the opportunity to be a healee, to have the opportunity to be healed in a coherence healing, I had a lot of guilt. Like, I'm looking around at people with look like they have multiple sclerosis or severe spinal injuries. They can't talk. Some people have stage 4 cancer and things like that. And it's just like, the things I feel like that are wrong with me. I have chronic health issues in my gut and whatnot, and fatigue, and these accidents that for some reason won't stop happening, and childhood trauma, and those are the things that I'm trying to cope with, and I feel like they pale in comparison to what these people are going through. But one of the things that I have to keep reminding myself of is, if I don't deal with these issues as they are, they're going to turn into something worse like that. And so I'm really grateful that we done this at the stage that we did, because we're still both able-bodied people, and so the life's the limit. We can take this as far as we are willing to go, as long as we do the work, essentially. And that doing the work is meditating twice a day. And you feel like, it's really hard to fit that in 2 hours a day when you have this crazy busy schedule. But one of the things I think that you find, and it's something that we witnessed in that really long meditation that one day, is when you really start getting into it and you really start working in this area of your life, you come to realize that, first of all, things aren't as big of an emergency as you think they are. They're not as high a priority as you think they are. and things just start falling together the way you need them to when you need them to, and so you're not putting so much effort into making things happen for you. And so that's, I think, one of the beautiful things about it. If you can dedicate yourself to it and make it a non-negotiable as much as brushing your teeth every day, I think you would see a huge positive change in your life.
I will say that some people are going to watch this and say, oh, it's a placebo effect, or that's just whatever. You know, they got people that are in the audience.
Yeah, right.
But if you watch the movie and they have scientists that are doing this work that are not scientists that just came out of school. These are scientists, some of them.
The one dude has a Nobel Prize.
I was just going to say that. Some of them, they are respected scientists in the scientific world.
And this has changed. Witnessing this work has
they
changed
will
their mind.
Okay, we're back. So
Hi.
we had some technical difficulties yesterday.
Overheat!
Yeah, the camera overheated in the windshield of the truck. So we're continuing where we left off. Basically, I said that this will change your life, and it really would. If you don't even know that you believe in all the things that we just talked about in energy and quantum physics and
Vibration, quantum physics, meditation,
neuroplasticity, epigenetics.
Chemicals.
Even if you don't know if you believe in all those things, I promise you that being present for Dr. Joe event is going to be life-changing. If nothing else, even just to escape from your life for a little bit and rediscover who you are at your core.
And the people there, every person, so it's been a few days and I've been trying to think of one bad experience I had. I can't even come up with one. So,
and he had a handicapped wife he had to push through the airport, so that's pretty big.
So I didn't have a bad experience the whole time. So if you have any doubt, you really need to watch Source.
It lives within
it's
you.
Within you.
Yep.
And then, check out his work. That's all I have to say.
Yeah,
really.
Absolutely. And,
But stay tuned. We're trying to record every week or so.
We want to bring you guys with us on this journey as we are really learning to embody these teachings and really learning to trust ourselves, trust in the unknown, trust in the unexpected, and learn to go with the flow. And that's really hard to do. I'm sure many of you watching or listening get anxiety even just thinking about that and think it's crazy and irresponsible. But we're all in. We are jumping in with both feet and we're not looking back. And we did it 2.5 years ago when we decided we were going to travel full time and that we were going to do this podcast and make it work. And it has been working. And we've been doing it for 2.5 years now. So we're really excited to keep pushing, and we're unlimited. The sky's the limit, and we're excited to bring you guys along the journey and ideally, of course, inspire you to realize that you are also unlimited and you can do anything that you set your mind to.
Thanks for tuning in. Till
Thanks,
next
guys.
time.
Love you.